Hi, this training is all about the people and for the people, perhaps you, who think like a boss, think like a CEO, think like a leader, but you keep it quiet. It's a secret. I meet people all of the time who think like a CEO. And I said this to two people in the last week. I said, you think like a boss, you think like a CEO. And we'll come back to that in a minute with their reaction. And the thing is, I meet so many people who have the ability to be leaders, to run their own business or to run a business, but they aren't, not yet. So this is one of the things we love doing, releasing people when they're holding themselves back from being in the position they should be in. So some people are C-suite or senior management level already. And some people are still workers. You know, it may be even just starting out, but we typically find people who perhaps are really skillful, knowledgeable what they do, but they may not be in leadership levels yet. And often these people want to go and start their own business. So whether it is running a company that is owned by somebody else or running your own, I meet many people who are absolutely capable of thinking in the way of a CEO, but they're just not in the position to apply that skill set. So when I discover this, I get very interested in why they're not in the top job already. What's holding them back? Why aren't they there? So there's various different reasons. And it could be skill set. It could be the environment they're in. It could be, and most commonly is, that they're holding themselves back. But the most common thing they often say is, I'm not ready. So once we discover that they do want to be the boss, and I'm working with somebody in the first few sessions of working with them, then it comes out, their real ambition, their true ambition. It's interesting because they may not say it to me straight away. They're talking about another problem leading their company, or they're part of the company they're in, and they want to be better as leaders, but they often don't say this straight away. But when it does come out, they'll often say, I'm not ready. So then I ask two questions. What do you need to be ready? And when will you be ready? And the most normal answer I get when people have been holding themselves back is they don't have answers to these two questions. And if you don't have an answer to these questions, then you'll never be ready. And that's about how sabotage loops work, and excessive fear or imposter syndrome thinking, all of those things that get in our way and the way we think about ourselves stops us from being able to answer these two questions. And a lot of the time, they are already ready, or there's a plan they need to implement that we often create together, which gets them ready. So some people are ready right now, but they won't ever let themselves realize it. They won't ever let them say, I'm ready now. And that's part of the problem. So people get in their own way. 40% of people have what I call a sabotage loop, meaning that they have excessive doubt, fear, failure of being good enough, or whatever it happens to be, which is really easy to find out actually what it exactly is within 2 hours we do this when we start working together, that stops them from seeing the reality of how good they are. Now, another thing that happens is they often have, in this thinking, strange ideas about what a CEO is and what a CEO does. Even the most talented people, and I'm talking and working with very talented C-suite in big organizations who spend all their time working with their CEO, they still have some very strange ideas about what they think a CEO is, and they're very far away from that. They're not capable of that. And sometimes it's because they're very process and procedural people, and they're very good at organization. And perhaps they've never been somebody who is what they think is entrepreneurial, or so what they have is an idea in the head of what they meant to be, and they're not that. They can never be that. They're not good enough. And if they make this leap, they're going to fail. So they have all these strange ideas about what sort of person they need to be, rather than actually is being the CEO that you can be. What you need to do, taking your skills and talents to be your sort of CEO, because there's all sorts of companies in the world and every CEO is different, and CEOs run companies differently. And it's not just that the companies are different, the CEOs are different, but different CEOs are required at different times within the company's life. So there's many different ways of doing things, but what often happens is I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I'm meant to be this. And there's that gulf that never can be crossed, but it's actually pretty easy to cross. And some people, as I said, are already have the capability of being there, but they just won't let themselves recognize it. Or there's others who go, yeah, there's some work that needs to be done in this plan that we need to create over the next how many months, or which will get me to that place where I could start doing it. So what do you think a CEO should be doing? And do you think that you're capable? The little voice in your head says, I want to do it, I am capable. Okay, there's some skills I'm missing, or there's something I need to be better at. That's great, that's skills. Or have you just created this gulf or this fear that says it can't be done? Now, the truth is, CEOs do need to behave differently from the rest of the company. And that's because their job needs them to be different, to think differently. Because CEO is different from a COO or CFO. There's different skill sets and there's different jobs and there's different objectives. But CEOs don't come fully formed. They start to find out how to be one, they get their feet behind the desk. And I remember talking to a client a few months ago, and I asked them the question, what sort of CEO do you need to be for your company in a year's time? They were like, I ask this question a lot. So they have to learn how to be the CEO they want to be and the company needs at the time. You can't be somebody else. You take your skills and then what else you need to do, put that together, learn it, and that's you being the boss. But if you say, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not that sort of person, because you've got this idea of what a CEO should be, then you're never going to get there, because you always got this comparison between you and this mythical figure. So I work with a lot of CEOs as well, C-suite, but a lot of CEOs, even at that level, when they have the top job, when the doors are shut, they confess they've got imposter syndrome. They're holding themselves back because they still got this idea in the head of who they're meant to be, even though the company they're running is doing really well. Now, they may be doing crazy hours or not delegating enough and doing behaviors that are not best for the company and themselves because of this imposter syndrome. So people making that jump from C-suite or starting your own business, being your own CEO or be your own boss, they don't think that the CEO has got the same stuff going on. They've just gone one step higher. So how many times do we hold ourselves back at very low level or medium level or senior level or top level? People hold themselves back at every level. So I work with many senior people who still, when the doors are shut, say, I can't believe I'm here. And I go to bed every night fearful of what could go wrong. So they live in fear because of their imposter syndrome. Strangely, imposter syndrome can help us create amazing results, but also make us very stressed while we're doing it. So it's not the best process to run your career and your life and your business. But many talented people never manage to get to the CEO position because of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, too much fear, excessive amount of fear. And I talk in other videos about why that happens and why this gets created. But they hold themselves back because of this. But when I say, you think like a CEO, and this is the favorite thing, when I say this to people and I pick up on it and I go, you're thinking like a leader. You're wanting to take the responsibility. You're wanting to be the person who calls the shots. You're wanting the person to be the person who sets the vision, the goals, the targets, have the ambition. I think whatever it is I'm picking up, okay, you think like a boss. You think like a CEO. Two things happen. Often they look a little bit shocked. and then they smile. They like it. It's a bit shocked, rabbit in the headlights, and then they smile because somebody else has spotted who they really are underneath all this careful control and facade, or this fear, depending on which way they do it. And because I'm not judging them, they actually like the fact that they've been recognized for who they really are, and it's okay for them to think this way and to have this level of ambition. They want to have the top job. They want to do something amazing. They want to be in control of this to achieve better results for themselves, but often to give back to the world and to help people and whatever it is. They want to be in charge of it. And they've often held back from saying it. They hardly even admit it to themselves. Because of imposter syndrome, it actually triggers off the imposter syndrome thinking. It says, no, you're not, you can't do that, you're not good enough. Which usually comes from childhood, by the way. So it's got nothing to do with career and business. So they actually like it when somebody else recognizes it. So we help many people, we've helped many people take that top job or go towards that top job, create the plan by getting rid of their imposter syndrome and then looking at what they need in terms of their leadership and management and skill set and whatever other things to allow themselves to be ready and to show that they are ready to other people who will give them that job. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing imposter syndrome, it only takes a few weeks. Typically 4 to break through imposter syndrome. This is the Alpha program. That's what it's designed for. So if you're ready, time to accelerate that career because you've been holding yourself back. Book in a call, we can have a chat. Just ask questions. I'll explain it. I'll explain why it's possible. There's actually another video on that. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll find it. 3 reasons why. Imposter syndrome is selective. We don't do it all the time. Self-doubt and fear is selective. Sometimes we turn it on, sometimes we don't. So therefore, we can turn it off permanently. So if you're holding back, you want to be the boss. It's time to make that step, or to build the plan to make that step. Get in touch. Inquiries at certainchange.co.uk. If you want to do it, send us an email. Our book in a call. I'm sure there's links kicking around here for you to connect to. But if you're the person who wants to be the boss, take that responsibility, and you're hankering after it, and you're not letting yourself when you're fully capable. And here's the strange thing. Other people have told you you're ready, but you still won't let yourself. That's all just thinking it be turned off. Give us a call. Get in touch. And I'll explain why it's possible directly for you in your situation. Everyone's different. Everyone's reason why people do it is different. We find that in the first 2 hours of working together. The process is the same because we all use that same process to create the imposter syndrome. So therefore, if you know the reason why you've done it and the process, you can turn it off, as I said, typically in 4 weeks. It's over to you. I'd love to speak to you. It's what we love to do. We're really good at it. Are you ready to push forward and get rid of that nonsense in your head so you can have the rewards of taking the responsibility that most other people are too scared to take? I look forward to speaking to you.